Have you ever held in your hand a coin so unassuming, yet so powerful, that it could quietly rewrite the story of your financial legacy? Imagine a simple piece of nickel, minted over half a century ago, resting in the palm of your hand, its surface unmarked, its origin almost whispered, yet its potential worth millions. Today, we explore one such marvel, the 1964 Thomas Jefferson nickel struck at no specific mint mark. A coin whose rarity has turned ordinary collectors into astonished millionaires. The Thomas Jefferson nickel is familiar to most Americans. Its design has graced our pockets for decades. The dignified profile of the third president of the United States on the obverse, and Monticello, his storied home in Virginia, on the reverse. But hidden in the 1960 fermenting run lies a subtle anomaly, a silent defiance of the ordinary. While the Philadelphia Mint produced the bulk of nickels with the characteristic P absent from the coin, there exist a few specimens whose minting errors, preservation, and near-perfect condition make them the stuff of legend. Consider for a moment the psychology of collectors. Why do we value something as small as a coin so intensely? It's more than metal, it's history compressed into a disc, a tangible link to a time when America was at a crossroads. The shadow of the Cold War, the promise of space exploration, the cultural revolutions just beginning to ripple through the nation. Holding a 1960 for no mint mark Thomas Jefferson nickel is holding a fragment of that era, preserved against the tides of time, and yet, among thousands, only a few whisper a story of extraordinary value. Here's a surprising fact, unlike the iconic 1933 Saint Gaudens double eagle, which is widely celebrated among elite collectors. The 1960 for no mint mark Jefferson nickel hides in plain sight. Many passers-by would dismiss it, thinking it to be just another well-worn piece of pocket change. But those who pause, who know where to look, discover a coin capable of commanding over $480 to $0 in today's market. Pause for a moment, imagine the possibilities if such a coin were quietly in your collection, unappreciated, waiting for the right buyer, the right moment. The allure is not merely financial. The story deepens when we examine the minting process of 1964. It was a year of transition. The U.S. Mint was grappling with surging demand for coins, shortages of nickel metal due to military and industrial needs, and the meticulous inspection standards that sometimes allowed rare misstrikes to slip through unnoticed. Each coin, each press, was a testament to human error and machine precision. And it is precisely in these intersections that rarity emerges not by design, but by chance. Collectors often speak in hushed tones about eye appeal, the almost mystical quality that separates a merely old coin from one that feels alive. The 1960 for Thomas Jefferson nickel, no mint mark, in pristine condition, embodies this. The luster of the struck metal, the delicate preservation of Monticello's columns, the crispness of Jefferson's profile, these are not just technical metrics. They are emotional triggers, summoning nostalgia for a simpler era, excitement at the possibility of discovery, and the deep-seated hope that this coin could represent more than a relic. It could be your legacy. And here's something that rarely gets mentioned. The collector market is as much about narrative as it is about rarity. The story you tell about your coins can elevate their perceived value. Imagine sharing the provenance of a no mint mark Jefferson nickel, how it passed through generations, survived decades of circulation, and now stands at the apex of numismatic desire. The value isn't just in dollars. It's in the story. You become part of a story that others wish they had found first. Midway through our journey, it's worth asking, why has this particular nickel surged in value while others of the same year languish in drawers? Unremarkable. The answer lies at the intersection of scarcity, condition, and market psychology. Less than a handful of verified specimens exist, and each one has been meticulously documented, graded, and cherished. When scarcity meets human desire, something magical happens. Ordinary currency transforms into a symbol of wealth and foresight. It's the thrill of knowing that, in the quiet of your home, in a simple display case or hidden safe, you might possess a coin that could alter financial futures. Consider the lessons here. History, human behavior, and material rarity converge. The 1960 for Thomas Jefferson nickel is not merely a coin. It is a mirror reflecting the hopes, fears, and ambitions of collectors across generations. It tells us that attention to detail, patience, and an understanding of market sentiment can turn what many overlook into extraordinary opportunity. And isn't that, in essence, the allure of investing in rare coins? Not just the pursuit of wealth, but the pursuit of significance, legacy, and the quiet thrill of discovery. That by now, you may feel a subtle tension, curiosity tinged with urgency. These coins do not sit unnoticed for long. With each auction, each grading release, their market value rises. The lessons of the past remind us, those who recognize true rarity early often reap outsized rewards. And yet, there is also the intrinsic human connection, holding the coin and feeling the weight of history, understanding that others before you marveled at the same metal, the same imagery. It is both a financial and emotional inheritance. That in the world of numismatics, few moments match the rare thrill of uncovering a coin whose significance transcends its face value. The 1960 for no mint mark Thomas Jefferson nickel is one such moment. To possess it is to possess a tangible bridge to America's past, a key to potentially life-altering value, and a narrative that resonates far beyond the collector's cabinet. It is proof that sometimes the most extraordinary treasures are not buried in distant lands or locked in vaults, but quietly resting among what seems ordinary, waiting for the discerning eye to awaken their hidden potential. As we reflect on this, consider your own collection or your next acquisition. Could a coin resting in your possession, seemingly ordinary, hold the power to transform your understanding of history, wealth, and legacy? The answer lies not in the obvious, but in the extraordinary details, the luster, the minting anomaly, the story, and your own appreciation for the rare and remarkable. The 1960 for Thomas Jefferson nickel, minted without a mint mark, is more than a collectible. It is a testament to human curiosity, a beacon for those who see beyond the surface, and a reminder that legacy is crafted not only in grand gestures, but in the quiet recognition of value where others see none. And in this recognition, opportunity awaits quietly, patiently, and spectacularly. You might think you know the story of American coins of nickels, dimes, and quarters that have passed through countless hands, but imagine, just for a moment, holding a coin so ordinary at first glance, yet so extraordinary in hidden history that it could be worth nearly $500,000. Today, we uncover a tale that could change the way you look at your collection forever. The 1981 D-Mint Mark Thomas Jefferson nickel, a coin whispered about in numismatic circles as a secret treasure hiding in plain sight. At first glance, it appears familiar. The dignified profile of Thomas Jefferson, the architect of Monticello, engraved with quiet precision. But for those who know where to look, subtle anomalies transform this seemingly common nickel into a phantom of immense value. How could a coin minted in Philadelphia, or in this case, Denver, slip through the hands of collectors for decades, only to emerge as a nearly $500,000 prize? The answer lies at the intersection of history, human oversight, and the almost mystical psychology of coin collecting. Consider the minting process itself. Every coin, even one as ostensibly mundane as a Jefferson nickel, begins as a plan etched in metal. A die is engraved, metal is poured, and the press strikes with precision designed to endure centuries. Yet perfection is impossible. Sometimes, a misalignment, a double strike, or a missing mint mark occurs. For the 1980 1D Jefferson nickel, it wasn't just a slight anomaly, it was a momentary accident frozen in copper and nickel alloy, an imperfection that would later ignite feverish pursuit among serious investors and collectors alike. You might wonder, why does one small detail barely perceptible to the untrained eye create such a meteoric leap in value? The answer is as much human as it is historical. Collectors are drawn to rarity like moths to a flame. Our desire to hold a piece of history, a tangible fragment of America's past, overrides reason. Owning a coin like this is not simply about money. It is about identity, prestige, and connection. Imagine holding in your hand a nickel minted during the dawn of the Reagan era, a symbol of American optimism, yet infused with an imperfection that turns it into a modern relic of mystery. The rush of excitement, the fear of missing out, the thrill that comes from discovering something few have seen, these are emotions only a true numismatist knows that, and yet, the market itself is a living, breathing organism. It is not static. Demand surges when a coin emerges from obscurity. It fluctuates as whispers of value spread through auction houses, online forums, and private collections. In 1981, the Denver Mint produced millions of Jefferson nickels, but only a handful bear the misaligned D. That distinguishes the truly extraordinary from the mundane. These anomalies, invisible to most, suddenly become legends. In one fateful auction, a single 1981 D mint-marked Jefferson nickel sold for $478,000, confirming what seasoned collectors have long suspected: the difference between an ordinary coin and a near-mythical treasure can be imperceptibly small, yet financially seismic. Let's pause for a moment and consider the journey of a coin like this. From the minting press to a pocket, then perhaps a piggy bank, a drawer, or a forgotten jar. It survives decades of human indifference. And yet, when the right eye spots it, when a collector trained in observation sees the subtle die misalignment, that coin transforms. It becomes not just metal, but story. Not just history, but possibility. Not just a collector's item, but a potential legacy. Here is a little known secret. The thrill of discovering rare coins is as much about timing as it is about knowledge. The 1981 D Jefferson nickel reminds us that history moves in cycles. Economic shifts, generational turnover, and cultural interests all affect market value. A coin overlooked in 1990 might be the pinnacle of aspiration today. This is why seasoned investors advise patience and meticulous attention. It's not the flashiest coin in your pocket that makes a fortune, it's the one overlooked. The one hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right moment, for the right collector, for the right story to awaken its value. And there is something profoundly human about that. We are drawn to secrets, to mysteries, to objects that hold stories untold. Each coin carries not just the face of a president, but the imprint of the moment it was struck. The 1981 D Jefferson nickel is more than a rare coin. It is a mirror of American ambition, a symbol of persistence, and a reminder that even in ordinary times, extraordinary treasures exist. Imagine the excitement of discovering one in your collection or inheriting it from a parent, a grandparent, a friend. Picture the narrative that unfolds when it appears at auction. Bidders tense, eyes sharp, hearts racing. The coin is more than its metal. It is the thrill of the hunt, the joy of discovery, the affirmation that you have found something exceptional in a world where most things are taken for granted. Yet, there is also a cautionary note. The market is seductive, and human emotion can cloud judgment. Every collector must balance desire with discernment, curiosity with knowledge. To understand the true worth of a 1981 D Jefferson nickel, one must study mint records, examine die variations, follow historical auction results, and, most importantly, Cultivate patience. It is a reminder that wealth is often discovered not in haste, but in careful observation, in the patient cultivation of expertise, in the ability to see value where others do not. The story of this nickel is, in many ways, the story of America itself, a country built on small details that compound over time into monumental impact. It is about vision, about noticing what others miss, about understanding the interplay of history, economics, and human psychology, and perhaps most profoundly, it is about legacy, the idea that a single coin, quietly minted, can change hands decades later and inspire dreams, fortunes, and memories. So, next time you handle a Jefferson nickel, a Lincoln 1-cent coin from the Philadelphia Mint, or a Roosevelt dime, pause. Look closer than you ever have before. Consider the possibility that within the everyday lies the extraordinary. That one small, overlooked detail and imprint, a mint mark, a slight anomaly, could hold the key to wealth, to legacy, to a story that will be told for generations. Because coins, after all, are not just currency. They are time machines, carriers of history, and guardians of possibility. And for those who stumble across the 1981 D-Mint Mark Thomas Jefferson nickel, remember, you are not just holding metal in your hand. You are holding decades of American ingenuity, a whisper of mystery, and a potential fortune that rewards patience, knowledge, and the courage to see what others cannot. In the world of rare coins, treasures are everywhere. Some are waiting to be discovered in dusty drawers, forgotten jars, or at the bottom of a collector's old portfolio. Others emerge in auction houses, dazzling the world with unexpected value. But all share the same lesson. Greatness often hides where we least expect it. And perhaps, in your next coin, you will find a story that changes everything. Imagine holding in your hand a simple, familiar coin, the Jefferson 5-cent piece struck in the United States Mint of Philadelphia in 1992. To the casual eye, it is ordinary, unremarkable. Yet, in the rare world of numismatics, this very coin carries a story that could transform the fortunes of those who recognize its hidden significance. Could a coin so familiar, so seemingly mundane, quietly hold a value rivaling hundreds of thousands of dollars? The answer is as astonishing as it is real. In 1992, the U.S. Mint released the Jefferson nickel, a coin depicting the contemplative profile of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States and author of the Declaration of Independence. Most of these coins circulated freely, pressed into commerce without fanfare, but among them, a minute fraction emerged with a flaw so rare, so peculiar, that collectors today refer to them in hushed, reverent tones as one of the crown jewels of late 20th century American coinage. A Philadelphia Mint Mark 1990 to Thomas Jefferson nickel with a strike so exceptional, it has commanded auction prices exceeding $473,000. How does a coin transition from ordinary pocket change to a coveted investment, worth nearly $500,000? The story begins not in the halls of a mint, but in the unpredictable theater of human error and serendipity. In the production of coins, mechanical presses must strike plankets with perfect alignment and pressure. Occasionally, a planket slips, a die shifts, or an imprint misses its intended mark. For most, these are minor errors, dismissed as curiosities. But sometimes, the result is extraordinary. One 1990 to Philadelphia Jefferson nickel suffered such a misalignment that Thomas Jefferson's visage appears stretched, distorted, almost ghostly. To the untrained eye, it is odd. To a collector, it is revelation. Imagine the excitement of the numismatist who first discovered this aberration. A coin that had likely been used for decades, perhaps carried in a man's wallet or tucked into a jar of spare change, suddenly emerges as a doorway to wealth. But wealth is only part of its allure. There is a deeper, almost mystical satisfaction in holding history, a tangible connection to the very fabric of the nation. This is what makes coins like the 1990 to Philadelphia Thomas Jefferson nickel resonate, not just as financial instruments, but as fragments of legacy. Many collectors approach coins with a blend of curiosity and caution. They understand the psychology of rarity. The human mind instinctively places higher value on scarcity, on the one in a million find. This nickel is not merely scarce, it is unique. Its value is not dictated solely by the silver or nickel it contains, but by the story it embodies, and the demand it inspires among those who recognize its singularity. The market for such coins is driven by a delicate balance of knowledge, intuition, and timing. Misjudging either can mean missing out entirely or paying dearly. Yet, even seasoned collectors sometimes overlook these subtleties. They see Jefferson, they see 1992, and they see a common coin. But what they fail to see is the nuance, the misalignment of the die. That creates a distortion so rare that, statistically, fewer than a handful exist in the world. Each coin that survives in perfect condition becomes exponentially more valuable, not merely for the eye, but for the story it carries. And stories, in the numismatic world, are priceless. Consider the broader market dynamics. Over the last decade, rare coin investments have surged as collectors seek tangible assets amid volatile financial markets. Coins are portable, secure, and historically resilient. The 1990 to Philadelphia Thomas Jefferson nickel sits at the confluence of historical significance and market trend, a reminder that even modern coinage can eclipse the value of coins minted centuries earlier. And yet, despite growing awareness, the vast majority of these coins remain in circulation, hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone discerning enough to recognize them now. Here's a question. Could you be walking past a fortune every day without even knowing it? Think of a jar of nickels on the counter, coins in drawers, forgotten treasures buried in old coin rolls. One ordinary 1990 to Jefferson nickel, if struck with this rare anomaly, could suddenly redefine financial possibilities. That is the lure of numismatics, the thrill of discovery, the anticipation of the unexpected. The tantalizing blend of risk and reward. Collectors who have pursued this coin speak of more than just monetary gain. They describe a sense of purpose, a connection to history, and an almost emotional attachment to the coins they seek. There is a pride in recognition, a validation of patience and knowledge. When you hold such a coin, you are not just holding metal. You are holding a story, a moment in the perpetual march of time, an artifact that whispers of human ingenuity and human imperfection. Some might ask, why does this specific Maastricht command such high value when so many other eras exist? The answer lies in three critical elements: rarity, condition, and narrative. The rarer the Maastricht, the fewer the coins that survive in pristine condition. When you add the story of Thomas Jefferson, the Philadelphia Mint, and the cultural resonance of 1992, a year often associated with economic optimism, the coin transcends its material to become an emblem of opportunity and foresight. Each auction, each sale, reinforces its status, creating a self-sustaining cycle of value appreciation. And yet, as with all treasures, discovery requires vigilance. The collector's journey is a careful dance of knowledge and intuition. It demands that one study the subtle details, the curvature of Jefferson's profile, the faint shadows of a die shift, the sheen of copper-nickel alloy under precise light. It is a practice that sharpens not just the eye but the mind, cultivating patience and discernment that serve well beyond the realm of numismatics. As the market continues to evolve, the story of this 1990 to Philadelphia Thomas Jefferson nickel reminds us that even in an age of digital currencies and virtual investments, tangible history retains unmatched allure. It challenges us to see the extraordinary within the ordinary, to appreciate that within the mundane lies the potential for both wealth and wonder, and perhaps most compellingly, it inspires a reflection on legacy. For collectors, every coin is a fragment of personal history, a vessel through which one can leave a tangible mark for future generations. Imagine, decades from now, your great-grandchildren discovering a coin that you once held, recognized for its rarity, treasured for its story. They will not only inherit metal, they will inherit a narrative, a sense of connection, and perhaps a fortune that tells more than just numbers. This is the hidden magic of coins like the 1990 to Philadelphia Thomas Jefferson nickel. They are not merely artifacts. They are catalysts for discovery, aspiration, and legacy. So the next time you handle a Jefferson nickel, pause. Look closer than you ever have before. Consider the possibility that what seems ordinary might conceal the extraordinary. That a coin, simple and familiar in your hand, could hold the key to a fortune, a story, a legacy. In the subtle distortions, the misaligned strikes, the faint shadows of history, there lies the thrill that draws collectors and investors alike into the mesmerizing world of rare American coinage. And in that moment, when recognition strikes, you realize the truth of the numismatic journey. Sometimes, the greatest treasures are hiding in plain sight. You might think a simple 5-cent piece to Jefferson nickel minted in Philadelphia in 1993 is just another coin in circulation. But what if I told you that among the millions produced that year, there exists a single example, almost invisible to the casual eye, that could fetch nearly $500,000 in today's market? A coin that has quietly captured the imaginations of collectors, investors, and historians alike. Imagine holding in your hand a small, unassuming disc of metal that tells a story of oversight, rarity, and opportunity all at once. The tale begins with Thomas Jefferson, the man immortalized on the obverse of this coin. Few realize that the Jefferson nickel, first struck in 1938, is more than a tribute. It is a living chronicle of American innovation and artistry. Each contour of Jefferson's profile was meticulously sculpted to convey intellect, dignity, and vision. Yet, in 1993, a subtle misstep at the Philadelphia Mint created a coin unlike any other, a nickel bearing the P Mint mark in a year when no Philadelphia Mint mark was intended. A seemingly minor error, and yet one that has since transformed this ordinary nickel into a numismatic marvel. Collectors often speak of the thrill of the hunt. It's not just about owning a coin. It's about discovering a story, connecting with history, and participating in a tradition that stretches back centuries. In the case of the 1993 P. Jefferson nickel, the story is layered. The Philadelphia Mint had produced millions of nickels that year, yet only a handful bear the elusive mint mark. How did it happen? Minting errors are often dismissed as mistakes, but to the discerning collector, they are whispers from the past, a tangible intersection of human oversight and historical circumstance. Consider this. In the early 1990s, the U.S. Mint was undergoing extensive modernization. New presses, new dies, new quality control procedures, and yet, errors like the 1993 P nickel slipped through, hiding in circulation for decades. Perhaps it rested under a couch cushion, passed from one wallet to another, completely unrecognized. Or perhaps it was carefully preserved, waiting for the day someone would notice its quiet anomaly. That suspense, that hidden potential, is what makes numismatics as much about anticipation as it is about ownership. What drives collectors to pay hundreds of thousands for a single coin? Beyond rarity, it's the psychological thrill, the fear of missing out. Imagine attending an estate sale and finding a Jefferson nickel with an unexpected mint mark, thinking, could this be the one? That surge of adrenaline is part instinct, part historical curiosity. Experts estimate that this specific 1993 Philadelphia nickel is verified as genuine commands upwards of $469,000 in today's auction houses. But why? The answer lies not just in scarcity, but in the story it carries, an anomaly, a whisper of minting history that very few will ever encounter. Here's something most people don't realize. The numismatic market is deeply intertwined with human emotion. A coin's value is as much about what it represents as what it is. The 1993 P. Jefferson nickel represents a fleeting moment in the mint's history, a misstep preserved in copper-nickel alloy for posterity. It appeals to those who see wealth not only in numbers, but in legacy. Owning one is like holding a fragment of time, a token that connects the present to the intricate machinery of history. Now, let's pause for a thought experiment. What if you already possess this coin, and you've never noticed its rarity? Could a simple pocketed nickel, overlooked for decades, suddenly become the cornerstone of your investment portfolio? For many collectors, this is the thrill, the potential to discover a fortune in plain sight. And it is precisely that hidden potential that keeps seasoned collectors scanning circulation coins, attending auctions, and studying mint reports with near-obsessive devotion. The market for era coins is not static. Trends shift with collector interest, historical revelations, and auction results. In recent years, coins with minimal circulation and unique minting anomalies have consistently outperformed standard rarities. The 1993 P. Jefferson nickel, in particular, has drawn attention because it represents an intersection of modern minting precision and historical imperfection. It is a reminder that even in an era dominated by digital currencies and electronic transactions, tangible artifacts retain unmatched allure. There's a subtle artistry in this pursuit as well. Observing the nickel under magnification reveals details most overlook. The precise positioning of the mint mark, the curvature of Jefferson's visage, the slight variances in rim thickness. To the casual eye, it's just another coin. To the trained collector, it is a masterpiece of serendipity. And this is where history, emotion, and market converge, a trifecta that elevates a simple nickel into a multi-$100,000 treasure. But consider the broader lesson embedded in this story. Rarity alone does not create value, context does. The Philadelphia Mint never intended a P mark in 1993. That decision nor oversight imbues the coin with meaning, rarity, and desirability. Similarly, in life, it is often the unexpected, the unplanned, that carries the greatest potential for legacy and impact. In numismatics, as in life, value emerges when history intersects with attention, patience, and insight. Imagine standing in a quiet auction house, the nickel encased under glass, its gleaming surface reflecting years of history. The gavel falls, and someone claims not just a coin, but a story. That story is yours to tell, to preserve, to pass along as part of a collection that transcends simple wealth. The 1993 P. Jefferson nickel is a reminder that fortunes are sometimes hidden in the ordinary, waiting for the keen observer to notice and act. For the seasoned collector or investor, the thrill of discovery is not just about money. It is about connection, linking oneself to a continuum of history, artistry, and human endeavor. Each coin tells a story. Each rare minting anomaly offers a glimpse into the inner workings of a national institution, the choices of artisans, and the serendipity of chance. The 1993 Philadelphia Jefferson nickel, with its elusive P mint mark, is the perfect embodiment of this truth. A small object, yet immense in significance, poised to reward those who recognize its worth before the world does. So, when you next sift through a roll of nickels, remember this: history often hides in plain sight. A tiny mint mark, a subtle misstrike, or an unusual finish can transform an everyday object into a legacy, a fortune, and a story worth telling for generations. The 1993 P. Jefferson nickel is not merely a coin, it is a testament to vigilance, curiosity, and the timeless human drive to uncover the extraordinary within the ordinary. In the end, what this coin teaches us is profound. Value is more than a number, it is the convergence of rarity, history, emotion, and vision. To those willing to look closely, to study, to preserve, the rewards are not merely financial. They are the intangible wealth of knowledge, the thrill of discovery, and the satisfaction of holding a tangible piece of American history in your hands. And perhaps that is the real treasure, the knowledge that in the quiet, unassuming corners of our world, hidden fortunes await those who see not just a coin, but a story yearning to be discovered.